the streets of Chicago are calling again after a one-year break that left fans wondering if the greatest street race experiment in NASCAR history was dead. It's coming back, and this time, the deal is different. The politics are hotter, and the timeline is tighter than Turn 12 at the Lakeshore Chicane. This is the story of NASCAR's return to the Windy City and why everything happening behind the scenes right now could shape the future of the sport. And hey, real quick, if you're a true NASCAR fan like me, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation News is just getting started, and we're pushing toward our next subscriber milestone. It's all about real talk from fans who live the sport every single week. All right, let's get into it. So here's what we know. Sources confirmed to the Chicago Tribune that NASCAR is close, and I mean really close, to locking in a return to downtown Chicago in 2027. We're talking Grant Park, Michigan Avenue, Columbus Drive, to Sable Lake Shore Drive, that iconic 12-turn to Sable Lake Shore Drive, that iconic 12-turn two-mile course that transformed the middle of a major city into a racetrack. At first, nobody saw it coming. After the event disappeared from the schedule, many assumed the experiment was over, but behind the scenes, the conversation never stopped. And that's where things get interesting. The race isn't expected to return on July 4th weekend. That chapter appears to be over. Instead, NASCAR is targeting Memorial Day weekend, and they want to piggyback directly off the Sueños music festival, which already sets up in Grant Park around that time. Think about that for a second. If NASCAR attaches itself to an event that's already building infrastructure inside the park, it could dramatically reduce setup time, grandstands could go up faster, equipment could stay in place longer, and perhaps most importantly, residents would spend less time locked out of parts of the park. Now, that might not sound like a huge deal, but it was one of the biggest controversies surrounding the original event. And trust me, there were plenty of critics. Here's the thing. The original Chicago Street Race Agreement was negotiated under former Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and not everyone in Chicago was happy about it. Far from it. Aldermen were frustrated. Community groups were frustrated. Many felt Grant Park was being shut down for too long. And when they looked at the financial terms, that frustration only grew, because in their eyes, the city was rolling out the red carpet for NASCAR without getting enough in return. Let me show you why. In 2023, NASCAR paid the Chicago Park District a $500,000 permit fee. That increased to $500,000 in 2024, then $605,000 in 2025, then $605,000 in 2025. There was also a $2 fee on every ticket sold, plus commissions on food and merchandise sales. Combined, those extras generated just over $220,000 in 2024, and that's where the debate exploded. Because while NASCAR was paying those amounts, Malapalooza was paying more than $10 million annually to use the exact same park. $10 million. You can probably understand why some city leaders weren't exactly thrilled. However, there was one important detail. NASCAR did contribute an additional $2 million in 2024 to help offset city expenses. That pushed Chicago close to breaking even financially. But here's the problem. Breaking even isn't what city leaders want. They want profit. And that's where one proposal could change everything. Because one Chicago alderman is pushing an idea that would completely reshape the financial relationship between NASCAR and the city. Alderman Brian Hopkins has floated a bold proposal. He wants Chicago to receive a share of NASCAR's television advertising revenue tied to the race broadcast. And when you hear the numbers, you start to understand why. The race generated an estimated $43.6 million in media value for Chicago in 2025, $43.6 million. Hopkins' argument is straightforward. If sponsors are paying huge money to appear alongside those incredible skyline shots, then the city providing that backdrop deserves a piece of the revenue. It's a simple argument, but NASCAR has a counter-argument of its own, and honestly, it's a pretty strong one. The 2025 race reportedly brought around 53,000 visitors into downtown Chicago. Those visitors spent money. They filled hotels. They ate at restaurants. They supported local businesses. Altogether, the event generated an estimated $128 million in economic impact for the region. In other words, NASCAR's position is basically this. We're already making the city money. We are the value, and that's what makes this negotiation so fascinating, because both sides have legitimate points. Neither side is completely wrong, which means finding common ground won't be easy. But what happened next surprised everyone. Over the weekend, Leslie Recht, head of the Grant Park Advisory Council, met with Chicago Street Race President Julie Geese, and according to those discussions, the two sides appear to be getting very close to a new agreement. Now, officially, NASCAR is still being careful. Their public position remains simple. The 2027 schedule is still under development. No official announcement yet. No public confirmation. But here's what stands out. NASCAR kept its Chicago office open throughout 2026. They kept staff in place. They never truly packed up and left. And that tells you a lot, because the pause was never really about abandoning Chicago. It was about buying time, time to renegotiate, time to move the date, time to solve the operational issues that had followed the event since the beginning. Then something unexpected happened. Mayor Brandon Johnson's office confirmed that conversations are ongoing, and Alderman Bill Conway, whose ward is directly affected by the event, released a statement saying he hopes a new agreement will be better for Chicago, both financially and logistically. He also described NASCAR as a collaborative partner in addressing community concerns. Now, I'm just going to say it. Those don't sound like the words of someone trying to stop the race. Those sound like the words of someone who wants to make sure it happens. And that matters a lot, because when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the signs are all pointing in one direction. The Chicago Street Race was electric when conditions cooperated. It was unlike anything else in the Cup Series schedule. It pushed drivers outside their comfort zones. It exposed NASCAR to casual sports fans in one of America's largest cities. And it created moments that fans are still talking about today. Yes, the politics are messy. Yes, the financial battle is real. But every major signal suggests Chicago is on track to return in 2027, a new date, a revised agreement, and a city negotiating from a much stronger position than before. And NASCAR, they seem to want this just as much as the fans do. So now I want to hear from you. Should Chicago receive a cut of NASCAR's television broadcast revenue? Or is the estimated $128 million economic impact already enough value for the city? Where do you stand? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know what the NASCAR Nation thinks. And if this video gave you something to think about, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to NASCAR Nation News, and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown like this one. We're building this community one real fan at a time. NASCAR Nation News, real talk every week,